Hey there guys, I'm here with my WWE Crown Jewel review and ratings. And overall, I thought the pay-per-view, it was not at all bad, but it is not at all was like the best pay-per-view and was absolutely amazing. It definitely had low parts, but I don't think the low parts were very low, and there wasn't really many high parts. It was all kind of just average stuff. But overall, I enjoyed the pay-per-view. I thought it was pretty fun. In the pay-per-view, if I'm going to do the thumbs up, thumbs down thing, I'm definitely going to give it a thumbs up. But let's get into the match grades. Next up, we'll just do the kickoff match real quick. This is Sami Zayn versus McDon, and this match was actually really good. They gave them enough time to get their work done and get out of there by the time for Crown Jewel to start. I mean, and McDon is an absolute beast. I love to watch him sell the moves. He's great at it. And of course, we already know that Sami Zayn is extremely talented. And overall, I believe it was a great match, so I'm going to give it a B. Next up is a match that I expected to be very good, and I believe it was. This is Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. First off, we just need to admire Seth freaking Rollins. We need to look at this gear that he was wearing. There it is right there. I definitely liked his gear, as always. But at first, they had like a little chop exchange, just chopping each other back and forth. Seth Rollins' chest got extremely red. And then there was like a little moment in this match for like 45 seconds to a minute. Seth Rollins was just absolutely working. He was hitting crazy moves back and forth. I mean, he was working at a high speed. He was hitting every single move perfectly. And I really loved that part of the match. Because Seth was really getting taken down by Drew, and then he just showed signs of life and ended up getting the win, which I kind of wish he didn't, because as I've said before, I want Drew to get his moment that he deserves, because he never got it when he actually was champion because of COVID-19 era. But it was definitely match of the night. There was only one place where I was like, oh my gosh, because Drew, he kind of slipped when he went to for the belly-to-belly suplex, and Seth almost did make the full rotation. I thought he was going to land on his neck. But being as great of workers as they are, they fixed it and they both went home safely. But overall, I definitely enjoyed the match. I was never bored because they kept it upbeat the whole entire time. There was never like a part of the match where they were just sitting there forever and having slow movements to where I got bored. And so I'm going to give this match a solid A-. Next up is a match that my excitement levels were kind of everywhere. This is between Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and the champion, Rhea Ripley. Of course, this was for the women's world title that Rhea Ripley was holding, and she ended up taking it home. But as I said, I had mixed excitements because it's just a bunch of like women that rely on their toughness. So I was just thinking they were going to showcase their strength and somebody's going to win, which of course I thought would be Rhea Ripley, and I was correct. And I was right. They kind of showed off their strength, and then Rhea Ripley took over. I did like the move that it ended on. I thought that was a great scene, or moment, whatever you want to call it. But overall, I thought it was a pretty decent match. It wasn't anything special, but it wasn't anything bad. So I'm going to give this match a B-. Of course, as all Nia Jax matches go, she kind of was just dominating everybody. Then everybody teamed up on her, and then she was just not even a threat anymore. Oh, also, yes, I don't know what's wrong with Samantha Irvin, but she wasn't on Raw in Greenville when I went, and she also was not ring announcing Crown Jewel, and usually she ring announces the pay-per-views, but it was actually Byron Saxton. I don't really know anything much about if there's anything wrong with Samantha Irvin or what it is, but I think it's definitely something to bring to attention. Next up is the quote-unquote GOAT versus John Cena. Okay, so I just completely worded that wrong. This is the GOAT John Cena versus Solo Sikoa, the Enforcer. As I said, I didn't have high expectations for this match, even though the name value is there, obviously, because of John Cena. But come on, John Cena's getting up there in age. Solo he's good, but he's still young, still working on his in-ring work. And so I didn't think it would be that good, but I definitely didn't expect Solo Sikoa to beat John Cena. But he did, and so obviously Solo Sikoa's momentum is going to be up there. even though he didn't have a banger match, it doesn't matter. You just beat the quote-unquote GOAT. And so I definitely think WWE is going to capitalize on that momentum because of his win. I mean, this match really did make Solo look like an absolute beast. But overall, like I said, it was nothing special, but it definitely wasn't anything horrible. I'm going to give it a C+. This was definitely the worst match on the card. Because like I said, there wasn't really any really bad low points. But another thing we definitely have to talk about is John Cena kind of teased a retirement. But I don't think it was a retirement because I think he would have done it properly. Left a hat, a wristband, something in the ring to kind of show that it's his retirement. And I honestly, nothing against Solo Sikoa, but I don't think Solo Sikoa is going to be the person to retire him. But he kind of did act like it was like a farewell. He was just walking out sad. I mean, not the never give up mentality like we think we would see from John Cena. But I don't know, it's definitely something to consider, but I don't think it's his retirement at all. But yep, like I said, I'm giving this match a C+. Next up was an unexpected segment, and this was where Miz came out. It was like looking like he was about to have a Miz TV. And then, I think, don't judge Ibrahim Ahajaj, I think is his name. Honestly, had no idea who he is. I looked it up and it says he was a comedian. But he comes out, then Grayson Waller comes out, and basically was looking like he was going to turn it into a Grayson Waller effect. I looked away from the TV. Next thing I know, Grayson Waller's coming out and there's some random dude in there. And then they have the Miz TV stuff. So to be honest, I was confused. So I was basically just reading about it and this is what I picked up. It was basically just a segment to kind of showcase that Miz is turned into a face and he is no longer playing heel right now. So yeah, that's that segment. I don't know if I give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But it definitely wasn't needed. Next up is Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul in a pretty good match. They started off the match rapid fire and then they slowed down really slow for a good, it was a while before they really picked the match back up and were working at high speeds like we expect from the two of them. And also, people can talk about Logan Paul and how he doesn't deserve where he's at, but this man literally saved Rey Mysterio's life. Rey Mysterio didn't get enough power behind his backflip and literally could have landed on his neck. It looked like it was going to angle onto his neck, but Logan Paul caught him and literally saved his life. With how unexperienced Logan Paul is and how long he's not been in this business because he's new to it and he's not known for wrestling, he still went up there and that was just absolutely amazing on his part. But even when the match was going slow, usually when it slows down, I get bored. But for some reason, at that slow part, I still was not bored. And then it really picked up when some guy, I have no idea who it is, I guess Logan Paul's friend, tried sliding in brass knuckles. And then Santos Escobar was there to save the day. But then Santos, for some weird reason, ended up laying the brass knuckles on the ring, right there in Logan Paul's sight to where Logan Paul can get to it to go chase Logan Paul's friend. Then Logan Paul ends up grabbing the brass knuckles that Santos put down and using it on Rey Mysterio to get the win. Which I thought was absolutely hilarious on Santos' part because you're getting the brass knuckles away and then you just straight up slide it right onto the ring to where Logan Paul can get to it. But honestly, the ending wasn't bad because it didn't make Rey Mysterio look bad. But it really showed Logan Paul as that heel cheater that everybody hates. And as always, for every Rey Mysterio match and every Logan Paul match, there was some amazing spots. Logan Paul did some crazy stuff. Rey Mysterio did some really cool stuff as well. And honestly, I really enjoyed the match. And so I'm going to give this match a B+, and an absolute great job with the booking because I believe Logan Paul as U.S. champion is going to lead to some great feuds, potentially maybe LA Knight versus Logan Paul. Next up was Io Sky versus Bianca Belair for the WWE Women's title. And the match itself was kind of mid, but I was actually scared for it because the Backlash match was alright. I didn't really enjoy it when they went against each other, but it definitely wasn't anything horrible, and the same was kind of for this one. Except I definitely think their in-ring work together was better. But it still was nothing very special, and the gear on Io Sky was definitely pretty cool. Of course, like the beginning of every single Bianca Belair match, Bianca's absolutely dominating, slinging Io Sky everywhere, and looking like nobody could stop her. And of course, eventually Bayley comes out, and right when Bayley starts getting involved, Io Sky accidentally runs into her and knocks her out. And of course, that just leads to the heat that Damage Control has had with each other recently. But I guess at the same time, it didn't really add to that, because Bayley actually acted like it didn't even happen. She still went after Bianca after that. But of course, we knew Kairi Sane was going to make a debut, but I honestly didn't think it was going to be the night of Crown Jewel. But then out of nowhere, I'm actually so shocked. She had pink hair. She attacks Bianca Belair, and I'm like, is that Dakota Kai? Because we always know Dakota Kai always has her hair dyed pink, so I'm thinking it's Dakota Kai, and then I'm like, why is she so small? That's not Dakota Kai. And then it's revealed to be Kairi Sane. She took out Bianca when Io was distracting the ref, and then she threw her in. Io Sky hit a moonsault and sealed the victory. So the second half of the match definitely had everybody on the edge of their seats. And then at the end, there was a key moment when Kairi Sane is in the ring celebrating with Io Sky. Bayley is on the outside just looking at him. She honestly looks like she was betrayed. And so I'm thinking this might end up leading to Kairi Sane and Io Sky versus Dakota Kai and Bayley. Obviously being the split up of Damage Control. And I think Kairi and Io would work really well together. And so I definitely believe this is going to be some great TV, because Bayley, whenever she has heat with somebody, she's always doing great. That's always so entertaining. And so I think I'm going to like this feud, because I definitely think this is the end of Damage Control. But honestly, this Saudi Arabian crowd did not care anything about the Kairi Sane return. And honestly, just women's wrestling as a whole, it seemed like they didn't care, because during both women's matches, they really got quiet. But definitely for this one, and I was expecting this really loud pop for Kairi Sane, because, I mean, personally, I was extremely excited to figure out that she was making her debut back to the WWE. But the crowd was not for it. But overall, I enjoyed the match. I thought it had some very nice high points, and so I'm going to give this match a B. And right when it seems like this crowd is absolutely dead, they're not going to make any sounds, Cody Rhodes comes out, and they are absolutely going crazy for Cody Rhodes. And of course, this is the match between Damien Priest versus Cody Rhodes. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say, during the Seth match, Damien acted like he was going to cash in, but Sami ended up taking his briefcase. And usually Damien Priest comes out with the briefcase, but he was only with the titles during his entrance for this match. So it's looking like Sami is Senor Money in the Bank for right now. And this entire match, I'm literally just waiting like, who's going to come out now? Because, come on, it's a Judgment Day match. We know every single Judgment Day member is going to come out and help Damien. Then Jey Uso's going to come out. Then Sami's going to come out. But they did surprise me. Only Jey Uso came out, nobody else. But I did like the match, even though I was just waiting for an interference. I thought the match was well. They were, of course, we know they work well together. Two incredible superstars. And overall, I liked the match. Like I said, Judgment Day came out when it was looking like Cody was about to beat him fair and square. And then Jey Uso comes around the corner, super kicks every single member of the Judgment Day, except Rhea. Rhea's the only one that didn't come out. And so then Jey just completely threw him out with a chair, chased him away. And it didn't end right then. They kind of went on for just a little bit longer, and then it led to Cody hitting 3 crossroads and ending the match. And yet, it was pretty predictable, but that's how it should have been booked, and that's how they booked it. Something that is hard for some people to understand, that for it to be booked right, sometimes it just has to be predictable. And I love the match. I'm going to give it a B+. That's another one of those matches where the whole entire time you're paying attention. You're not going to get bored with it. So, final rating, a B+. Next up is the match that everybody's talking about. This is Roman Reigns versus the megastar, LA Knight. And of course, this is for the WWE Universal Championship. In my opinion, the most valuable thing in wrestling right now. as expected, they weren't going to be doing out of this world moves because LA Knight he's not known for his in-ring work, and Roman Reigns isn't the type of guy to start doing absolutely crazy stuff. Kind of like most Roman Reigns matches, at first they were kind of moving slow. For the majority, they were moving slow, but then, of course, eventually, sometimes they would get some nice, fast movement in there. And, of course, as expected, Roman Reigns got the win. I was starting to think LA Knight was going to get the win, and then, of course, Jimmy Uso comes out, Solo Sikoa comes out, just like every Roman Reigns match, which I'm happy because LA Knight didn't lose fair and square. But LA Knight kicked out of a finisher, did his finisher onto Roman, and then Jimmy Uso saved the day, put Roman's foot onto the rope to make it be a really close count, but a count of 2. And then eventually, a little bit later, Roman Reigns ends up spearing LA Knight through the barricade. And then he takes him in, and he spears him again to get the victory. And overall, I thought it was a pretty decent match, nothing too special, but it definitely has meaning, just like every single Roman Reigns match does. And overall, I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't anything horrible, but it definitely wasn't anything special. And I'm going to give it a B. Honestly, I think they could have booked it either way with LA Knight or Roman Reigns winning, and I wouldn't have a problem with either. And as expected, LA Knight was getting the pop that he does everywhere in Saudi Arabia. I mean, that just shows how over he is with the type of pop that he gets every single place he goes. So him and Cody definitely get the props tonight for the loudest crowd reaction. Sami was up there, but definitely not quite as close as LA Knight and Cody Rhodes. Overall, honestly, I enjoyed this PLE, and I think it was a pretty solid one. As an overall grade, I think I'm going to give it a B. As I've said multiple times in this video, I don't think it was anything special, but I definitely don't think it was anything horrible. And I'm excited to what this PLE is going to lead to. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Kairi Sane. I'm excited to see what LA Knight's going to do. And there's just a lot of things that this PLE could lead to. And I'm definitely extremely excited to see what Logan Paul can do with this U.S. title. I'm extremely excited for this reign. I believe it's going to be a great and very fun, very cool, fun feuds. So yeah, I think it was a solid PLE, and I'm going to give the overall grade a B. And so I'll see you guys on the next one.